what are some like red flags or things that just stick out to you, that would just be like obvious things when you're looking at a deck and you're like, okay, this is like you immediately get gravitate towards something that just looks like a red flag.
Um, so the only red flag that I've published is the word guaranteed, which was
Mhm.
honestly shocking to me, Max. Sometimes it comes from like what I would consider pretty either large or somewhat sophisticated sponsors, or I guess you can call them not sophisticated then, but I think you know what I mean. These are people running a few hundred million in assets, and they're pushing out a deck or an email saying, you get guaranteed returns of X. And of course, what they mean is they're highly likely, which can be based on a few bunch of different reasons, which is maybe a reason for another podcast. But my point is like, under no circumstances, in my opinion, is the word guaranteed not a red flag. There
Mhm.
just doesn't exist such a case. Um, so that's the biggest one. I think the second one that I'm like coming around to, I haven't published on this yet, but I'm curious to hear what you think. But I'm big on what I would call reasonable transparency, right? So there's a lot of sponsors that refuse to give certain information, right? So you might ask for a reporting package from another deal, and they'll just say, "No, I can't do that because I have like confidentiality issues." And my opinion on that is like, okay, so like have the LP sign an NDA, right? Um, or get on a call and video share the thing. Like
Right.
I don't know, like do something. Like it's I think it's a reasonable request. Like I'm not asking for your social, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for LPs to understand how you will communicate with them going forward. And then similarly, like you'll ask on the deck will say, hey, we have 20 years of experience, and sometimes also 20 years of combined experience. And then it's like how we've done a bunch of deals and we're great. And it's like, okay, can you show that to me with the property addresses and like when you bought it for how much and when did you sell it for how much? And they're like, oh, we don't disclose that information, but I'm happy to get on a call and give you a few examples. It's like, I don't know, like it's interesting because this whole space is like very opaque, Max, right?
Yeah.
And so I personally I get uneasy when like a GP on the front end, right, is not willing to provide very basic information. Like I've advised LPs on GPs that have been around for like 40 years in some case. You ask them for a track record, and a part of them is like probably like, oh, who is this person asking for a track record? Like that's so silly. But then they attach a PDF that has like 100 deals on it with every single stat on it, including some deals that didn't go over well. And it's like, well, that's great. Like at least I know who I'm talking to. And I think
Right.
naturally the LP feels a sense of transparency and professionalism, right? But I think for some reason, some of the newer GPs kind of feel that they need to keep those things close to their chest. I don't know.